Dan Price from the Victoria Royals joins us as we continue our season previews in the WHL. Dan, let's chat. You guys are right in the thick of training camp here. I know it's intra squad day for you as we speak right now, but just in a general sense, I mean, just talk to me, if you will, about just what your group has been like over the past week or so. Now that the fellows are back in Victoria, and just the excitement level surrounding your group right now.
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, I really appreciate it. I've been really impressed with the group dynamics so far. The guys clearly had great summers. Everyone's really fit and I think energized, ready to go. It felt like a long summer, I think, for a lot of the guys based on, just sort of the way that the season ended with those back-to-back games against Spokane and then the win on Friday and the loss on Saturday. And, it just felt like some things left undone there. So that's in some ways that's a great thing. That was disappointing at the time, but it was a great challenge for the players going into the summer to try to come back fitter and faster and stronger and just be ready for hopefully a great start to the season this year. And I've really sensed that in the group. I've really sensed a feeling of purpose and mission and readiness. And of course, it's the third year together for a lot of these players as well. For some of the 04s, as an example, that started together in the hub. So it's feeling a bit more like a veteran team and just with a real clear sense of direction, which I've been impressed with.
Yeah, and I mean, no question. You guys had a young group last year, and at times had to deal through injuries and adversity. And you know, from an outsider's point of view, I mean, you would certainly get the sense that the way your team kind of played the second half, that would kind of make your group stronger and going through the type of experiences that you had. I mean, when you look at some of the strengths that you guys have on paper or in the room, I mean, would that togetherness, that cohesiveness, kind of stand out at the top of the list for you?
I would agree with that. I mean, I hope it ends up becoming one of our biggest strengths. I'm feeling that from the group. There's a real sense of camaraderie. There's a real sense of competition as well. But I think you can accomplish both. I really believe that players can compete really hard in practices and in games for contribution and minutes and role and all those kinds of things and still be excellent teammates and still support each other and still have a common purpose of winning in mind. And I really do think we have the personalities for that. The chemistry is outstanding. And in addition to some of the other strengths that hopefully we'll have on the ice, I think that bond that they've had over the last couple of years is a really important aspect of what I think we can hopefully do as a team this year. And you're right, heading down the stretch, despite some injuries and COVID, all those things we've talked about before, it felt like playoff hockey. There were a couple of months there where every point just mattered so much to try to get in right down to the wire. So even though it wasn't technically playoff hockey, I feel like it felt that way. And it was a similar experience for most of the younger players.
When you look at the 21-22 Victoria Royals, I know a lot of the conversation was about your two 20-year-old forwards and Bailey Peach and Taryn Pfizer, but I want to ask you about a guy who, for us, at least in our office, kind of jumped off the map with his performance in goal, and that's Tyler Palmer. This is a guy that you guys signed prior to the start of the season, and he came in and played some huge minutes for you and put up some huge performances. I mean, speak to me, if you will, about Tyler's character and what he brings to the table, and maybe what you're expecting out of him in his 19-year-old season.
That really is the most important word, is character. It really starts there, hopefully with all of our players, but definitely with Tyler as far as what type of person he is. He's just ultimately just such a great human being. He cares about his teammates. He cares about the organization and about winning. He's ultra competitive, very hardworking, detailed. He takes his preparation very seriously, which you need in a goaltender. And he's got this great competitive fire, but it's also very balanced. He has the ability not to get too high or too low after a good game, or whether we win or lose, or a big save or a goal against. He's just very, very level, and that's a unique capability, I think, in a lot of athletes generally, but also in goaltenders, is to be able to keep that competitive fire while still staying balanced. And he really has that. So yeah, we have a lot of respect for Tyler. We think very highly of him.
I know you've got a couple of guys that are headed to NHL camps here in the next few days. One of them I'm speaking to in about an hour or so, Braden Sheahan. This is a guy that I think learned a lot from the Peaches and the Pfizers in your group last year, and learned in the hub as well. As an 18-year-old now, and a guy that had been counted on in the last couple of years to put up some offense for you guys. What's Braden's approach been like over the summer and heading into this season?
Yeah, we couldn't get the guy off the ice. I mean, every time I talk to him, what are you up to today? So I've been on the ice twice already, or whatever it might be. I mean, his level of preparation is also incredible. So it's no surprise that he's been able to continue to have success year after year. And that's the thing with Braden. He's got an approach of this is a process. There is no finish line, and he just is really sincerely focused on improving his game every day throughout the course of the summer or in season. And he's showing that on the ice, of course. I mean, as fast and fit and as strong as he is, he's even faster and fitter and stronger, and he's been working on his release and his hands and all those things. So, and that's what it takes to be a pro, as you know, is the guys that never arrive are the ones that tend to have the best careers. And I know Braden definitely has that attitude.
How's Cole Reshny been in camp? I know he was your third overall pick in the 2022 WHL prospects camp. You get your first look at him kind of in a WHL setting here over the past week or so. What's Cole Reshny kind of how's he maybe stood out and caught the attention of yourself and your staff?
I would say very similarly to how I've spoken, excuse me, about Braden and about Tyler. Cole really fits that mold as well. So his game and his whole personality starts basically without the puck. It starts with the quality of person that he is, with how competitive he is, with his defensive details, with his conditioning, with his work ethic. I mean, this is a player that truly cares about a 200-foot game and about winning. And I've had these conversations with his family as an example, like his dad and Clinton and I chatted earlier today about that. And that's really how Cole has always, I think, set his compass is on being a really, really excellent overall hockey player and an excellent person and teammate. And that's where it starts. And it's one of the reasons, honestly, why he's able to do some of the things he does offensively, because he has the puck a lot, because he works hard when he doesn't have it. And so that's been the biggest thing. He's been making some great plays, of course, offensively. He's a very aware player. He surveys the ice extremely well, and he makes great reads, all those things. But more than anything, it's the work ethic, the competition, the humility that I'm most impressed with. And the offensive stuff is just a bonus.
My last one for you, Dan. When you look around the division in BC, I mean, you look at your second half last year. I know it was a tough start with the injuries and everything that in 21-22, but again, you guys battled through the second half and put yourself in a position to make the playoffs. When you look at the BC division, how important is that experience of having gone through what you went through and battling right until the very end last year, going to service you as you go through a BC division this year that, let's be honest, is going to be tough for all five teams involved?
Absolutely. You're right. I think that was one of the biggest things we learned about ourselves last year as a team, was that we were able to deal with that adversity and we were able to respond to it. And I've said this before, not just to our team, but to in other interviews as an example, or just to other people around the community, that there aren't many groups of people that I've been associated with that would be able to pull that off. There are some, I've worked with people and groups who just have that tremendous resilience, but there was something also really unique about this year's group where, despite probably the human urge or tendency to say, oh, we're just too far down, there's too many injuries, or everyone's, not enough available players due to COVID, or we're too far away in the standings, whatever, it would be easy just to play it out. But the team really took the opposite approach. Nobody panicked. Everybody just got to work and took it one day at a time, that whole cliche, but it paid off just day by day throughout the course of primarily November and December. We got ourselves back into the hunt. And then we got hit again early on in January. And then by like mid-February, we were starting to come out of that. And we got ourselves back in the hunt in February and March. And then it came right down to that last game where, had it gone our way against Spokane, we actually would have finished sixth and played Portland in the first round. And because of all the parity, we slid out. But it was a worthwhile endeavor. It was a worthwhile exercise. And I was just so proud of the players and of the group for learning that about themselves and demonstrating that resilience. I really admired that from the players. So I hope that will help us carry that momentum now into this season.